What's up? Hi guys, how are you? Thanks for being here. My name's Davy, and I make this magazine called Found Magazine. And Found Magazine, it's just a collection of notes, letters, really anything people have found. So you're walking on the street and you see some crumpled up piece of paper, a to-do list. You pick it up, maybe it's a journal entry, a love letter. People find this stuff, they send it to me from all over the country, and really all around the world. And so I just slap it together into Found Magazine and these found books. So what I want to do this afternoon is share with you guys some of my favorites of the stuff that people have found and sent into us over the years. And also some of the brand new stuff we've gotten as we've been traveling around the last couple months, starting this My Heart is an Idiot tour. And I'm also going to share with you one short essay from the book. I work for a radio show called This American Life, founded right here in Chicago, WBEZ. And there's a piece that I did for the show a couple years ago, but my boss, Ira Glass, the host of the show, had to bleep out some of the most important language in the piece. The title of the story, I got permission from these guys to give you the uncensored version, so we'll dig into that in just a moment. But let me just start out by giving you a sense of the kinds of stuff that people are finding. It's stuff like this one. My friend in New York, she found this note blowing down the street in front of her apartment. It's written to a guy named Delane. It says, "Dear Delane, you and I are just friends. That's the way I wish to remain. I like you, but only as a friend. I would be happy if this doesn't affect our bond as friends. Please understand, it's not because you're not handsome enough. It's just because you and I are friends and that's it. The reason you can't be my boyfriend is because I'm not as attracted to you as you are to me. To be honest, I just want us to be friends, that's all. It's your choice whether you want to be my friend or not. Signed, Julia. P.S. Let's just be friends." And so, the woman that found that, she wonders if Delane ever got the subtle hint that Julia just wanted to be friends. I thought I would start out with a few love and relationship-related found items because so many of these finds seem to deal with this kind of stuff. This one came from Portland, Oregon, and it seems like it's a guy who's counseling his friend who's in the early stages of a relationship. He's just trying to give him some advice. So he says, "Don't rush things. Be her friend first. Take her out for lunch. Ask her, would you like to go out for lunch? My treat, please. Come on, please." So I like how he's, anticipating rejection for his friend before he's even had a chance. And then from San Francisco came this one. The woman explained it to me, the woman who found this. She told me she got to work in the morning and she found in the office fax machine were like these 3 mysterious faxes that had come through in the middle of the night. No idea who they were from, just these handwritten faxes, but they got the time code up top so you can see what time they came in. The first one's from 2:36 a.m. It says, "I just want Gigi back. Tell me where she is and I'll come get her. Why are you doing this? Be a man." Whoa. Next one a few minutes later. "This is cruel and emotional abuse. No wonder you drive the women you're with crazy. They either join cults or want to kill themselves. Be a man for once in your life. The world doesn't revolve around you. Just let me have Gigi now. I can't believe you're even doing this. I will come get her. If not, I'm calling the police." All right? And then finally, the last fax at 2:56 a.m., it just says, "Sorry, wrong number." There's like a face, I don't know if it's a smiling face or a frowning face. It's like a oops, my bad face at the bottom there. My friend in Houston works at this middle school, and he found this in the playground one day. It says at the top, it's kind of like in a middle schooler's handwriting, and it says at the top, Erica Rioja. Erica, we the boys want to know, why are you going out with Nathan? And you like all of us in a way. Tell us why and list how much you like the person with their name. For example, Fred, not at all. Sorry for asking you all these questions, but we the boys want to know and get to the bottom of this. I'm always having to write these letters because the rest of the boys, they are some punks. You don't have to tell us right away, but do tell us. Me, Fred, and Ricky thought of writing to you. Well, really, it was just Fred. All of the boys in the 6th grade likes you, except for some. That means you are the finest girl in the whole 6th grade. A few of them like you because of you know what. But I don't. I like you because you have a pretty face, a pretty smile. You're the only girl that has a little piece of hair going down her face. I think that makes you even prettier. You said that was your own style, and I think that's so cool, or whatever. That's all for now, so I'll see you on the flip side. Peace out. P.S. Call me if you want to talk about something or tell me about myself. You know my number, and if you don't, then I'll tell you in your ear, because I don't want any other girl but you to know my number, not even Aisha. So, college campuses, great place to find stuff, all right? This one came from University of Texas, outside of a dormitory down there in Austin. And says, Jenna, can I give you a sensual massage? Then I will talk about Jesus. I'm like, shit, my shoulders are sore. I could use some spiritual guidance. You know, where is this guy when you need him? I was living in Chicago 10 years ago when I started Found Magazine, and I found this one on the DePaul University campus around that time. It's kind of an ordinary flyer, a guy looking for roommates, but there's a couple of weird things about it. First of all, there was 200 of these, 200 posted all over the DePaul campus, each one individually handwritten. Dude, Kinko's, man. Check it out. But it starts out pretty normal. He says, I'm looking for a roommate in Lincoln Park, male or female, reasonable rent, lots of room, cool, responsible, laid-back guy. For more info, call 847-647-7700, ask for Dan. Here's where it gets a little weird. He says, please call after 10:45 or 11 p.m. to 12:45 a.m. or 6:30 to 9 or 9:20 to 11:30 a.m. Call ASAP. What is this guy doing from 9 to 9:20 every morning? He can't answer the damn phone. Still trying to figure that one out. I don't know, having a sensual massage, talking about Jesus? Who knows? From UC Davis, outside Sacramento, came this. This was like a kid's 4 answers to this pop quiz. And you can deduce what some of the questions might have been just from his answers, but some of them I have no idea. So here's his 4 answers to this quiz. He says, number 1, I would name my twins Mickey and Minnie. Cool. Number 2, hell no. Hell no! If you're going to control the U.S. Armed Forces, you have to be born and raised right here in the U.S. of A. Number 3, the book would be about the ghettos of the world. And the title would be The Ghettos of the World. Available at Quimby's. Number 4, set my arms on fire using rubbing alcohol or spitting flames using rubbing alcohol. What question elicited that response? Still trying to figure that one out. This one came from San Francisco. It says, more buns, more cups, less lies. There's a story there, I just don't know what it is. This one is similar, found in Brooklyn. It's like one of those flyers if you're trying to sublet your apartment or sell your bike or something, and make those, you know, those little flyers with the tabs on the bottom with your phone number. People can tear them off. So this is like that, but different. It just says, Steve. And there's like, the crazy thing is 4 of these things are torn off. Someone was like, Steve, I need one of those. Sweet. You know, people find these to-do lists all the time and send them to us, and I relate to them because I'm always making to-do lists. But this was a one-item to-do list found on an elevator at the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas. It just says, must win money. And then from St. Louis came this one. It says, to do today, turn in library books, find out about college, mail dad's shit, pay bills in advance, write crystal, hide guns. From Atlanta came this one. It says, goals for today. Number 1, go to church, find God, then find myself through God, get baptized. Number 2, meet new people, party a lot, start drinking. Busy day. And then from Traverse City, Michigan, it says, to do today, create a circuit of pirate radio stations in the Traverse City area. Open an arcade. Open a coffee shop called The Joint. See all my favorite musicians in concert. Wipe out my entire Amazon.com wish list. Straighten out my left arm. Make my legs an even length. Oh, this is interesting. This came from Burlington, Vermont. This was the first ever to not do list. The to not do list. Do not spend money on anything except clothing for Halloween, grocery items, Sarah's birthday dinner, sushi, metal show, and the movie Kill Bill. Save all other money. Do not fall in love with any strangers. Do not procrastinate the trip to Japan. Do not eat junk, any form of potato or corn chips. No Fritos, no Lay's, no Ruffles, no Cape Cod, nothing. Do not start another tab at work. Do not fret over Wendy or, in any case, being alone. Do not borrow money from mom. Do not eat at Oasis or any shit food place. Do not watch pornographic movies. Do not masturbate. Do not masturbate. It's actually my to-do list. How did this get mixed up in my to-do? No, seriously. Found in Burlington, Vermont, where I lost it, apparently. This was found outside of a middle school in Hartford, Connecticut. And it says things to do. The first 3 are crossed out. Apparently, they've been done. It's like in a middle schooler's handwriting. Get a new skateboard deck, crossed out. Think of band names, crossed out. Get lawn mowing service going, crossed out. The last 2 still yet to be done. Hook up with Jenn. Make it to the 6th grade. Let me share this with you because as I rolled up to the Museum of Contemporary Art this afternoon with Brandy and Hakeem and Brett, we noticed that there's a Daniel Clowes exhibit going on here, which is awesome because I love his work. You guys know he's a great graphic novelist, does 8-Ball comics, wrote Ghost World, and Dan Clowes actually he walks his dog every day in Oakland, California, where he lives, and finds stuff. He's always sending us finds. Every month or 2, we get a package from Dan Clowes. So this is a favorite of mine that he sent to us. It's these flyers he found like a month apart on the streets of Oakland, and I blew them up at Kinko's. I know what Kinko's is. The first one's ordinary. It just says internet help in setting up for Mac or Windows, finding a service provider, setting up your account, creating worldwide web pages, and maintaining a website. Call Ross, 510-883-1027. All right, so that's Ross. If you need a website, check him out. He's supposed to be sweet, according to his own flyer. Well, a month later, Dan Clowes, walking his dog, and he finds this flyer. It says, when you have questions, I deliver answers. Clairvoyant readings with Reverend Ross Ureri. Same dude. And you look at this thing, and you really don't know if it's like a personal ad or an ad for a business, because he's got all over the map. He says, currently I'm involved with the production of a series of videos dealing in the correct use of psychic power. I've been a staff member of the Academy of Psychic Studies for over 6 years. I served in our country's armed forces for 14 years. Naturally, I would not hire a clairvoyant that doesn't have some armed forces experience. I mean, if you haven't been in the shit, you ain't talking to my dead grandma. Fuck that. So this book, it just came out in paperback last week. My Heart is an Idiot. It's like 16 personal essays, some of them about my own misadventures in love and relationships, some about interesting people I've met in my travels, doing Found Magazine the last 10 years. But the one I wanted to share with you guys is this one that was, it was supposed to air a couple years ago on This American Life, and Ira, called me up like 2 days before it was supposed to air, and he was like, yeah, man, we're going to have to bleep out the title of the story. It's the most important line in the story. I know. He was really apologetic. And I was like, well, I don't understand. It's not like a curse words or anything. The piece is called Nibble, Lick, Suck, and Feast. And I was like, was it nibble? Was it feast? Like, which word? He just said all 4 together. You cannot use all 4 together on public radio in most of the country. So he had to bleep them out on the air, but I'll give you the little uncensored version. It's about when the first Found book came out. There was finds in there from every state, 50 states. So we did a 50-state tour. We got to do Letterman a few times, which was cool. Got to meet Jamie Foxx, one of my favorite actors. But we also did some TV stuff that was less glamorous. The morning show in Amarillo, Texas, stuff like that. So this is about some of those experiences. Nibble, lick, suck, and feast. A few years ago, a publisher put out a book I'd put together called Found, based on the magazine I produce, which collects love letters, to-do lists, journal entries, and other personal notes that folks around the country have plucked up off the ground or the streets. To help spread the word, I bought a van on eBay and hit the road with my brother Peter for an 8-month, 50-state, 136-city tour. The publicity team managed to get me booked on local morning TV shows in most of these cities. How it worked, I'd show up at the station at 6:30 a.m., a producer would clip a little microphone on me, and somewhere between weather and sports, one of the morning show anchors and I would talk about the book for 2 or 3 minutes. Early on in the tour, I took these gigs pretty seriously. After all, the publicists and TV stations were clearly doing me a huge favor by pimping the book. In Philadelphia, Boston, and New York, I made sure to arrive plenty early, act energized, and be prepared with cool found notes to share. But by the 3rd week of the trip, I was starting to wonder who, exactly, if anyone, was watching the local news at 7 a.m. Also, while a couple of the hosts of these shows were real cool and genuinely enthusiastic about the book, most of them didn't get me or the whole idea behind Found. Yet this only increased their chipperness and jaunty dawn enthusiasm. Those pants are so fun, they'd say, looking me up and down. Plaid pants, you're fun, huh? What kept me excited about these TV gigs was getting to meet and hang out with the other folks who were my fellow guests on the morning shows. These were local chefs with recipes of the week, mayoral candidates, a team of Irish dancers, a kid with an 80-pound pumpkin. In Baltimore, on Fox 5's Good Morning Baltimore, I did my little Found song and dance, and then the anchor asked me to stay on her couch while she brought out the next guest, Baltimore's best mom. This was right before Mother's Day. Baltimore's best mom turned out to be an 87-year-old woman named Darnell Cole. She sat next to me on the couch. On the far side of her sat her 50-year-old son, Dice. Darnelda had no idea why she'd been asked to come on TV. They had plotted this as a surprise. The anchor asked Dice Cold to read the letter he'd written, nominating his mother for the prize, and Darnelda grew weepy. At last, the anchor declared Darnelda Baltimore's best mom and produced an oversized plaque from somewhere and presented it to her, at which point Darnelda fell sobbing into my arms. I gave her a wild bear hug, caught up in the moment. The anchor woman joined our embrace. Dice, meanwhile, had lit up a cigarette, which an alarm producer raced over and doused with a splash of water. Darnelda took this in and began hollering at her son and whacking him with her new plaque. Dice, you can't smoke in here. This is TV we're making. What you thinking, boy? Put that damn thing out. There were other high points. And by high points, I mean low points for the stations and their guests. In Cleveland, 2 city parks employees showed off an injured hawk and falcon they'd rescued and rehabilitated. Then the falcon got loose and started flapping about, crapping on everything. The anchors had to forge on through the local news and sports and weather, while the falcon continued to dive bomb them, rationing its poop so it had enough to drip a few drops on them with every sortie. It was fucking amazing. In Chicago, a young soccer champ who they invited on to demonstrate his fancy moves booted a ball off the wall of the set, knocking it over backwards, revealing the fact that we were not actually in the host's living room, as it might appear, but in the middle of a big dank concrete hangar. Often my brother and I, we do a found event in one city, hit the road for 7 hours, taking turns driving all night, and get to the TV station parking lot in Louisville or Milwaukee around 4 a.m. for a couple hours of sleep, before it was time for me to unfold myself, clomp inside all rumpled and bleary-eyed, and do my thing for 90 seconds on air. In the wee hours, security guards in the station lots would poke flashlights in our van windows and roust us. And I'd explain I was going to be a guest on the morning show, and they'd disappear for 20 minutes to check into it, then come back and wake us again to tell us that things had checked out and everything was cool. In Seattle, after a young security guard played this game with us, I asked if I could come inside to use the John. We ended up talking for a while. His name was Pico. It turned out the station was moving soon to brand new, larger digs, and that Pico was going to be replaced by an automatic gate with a swipe card. Pico asked why I was going to be on the morning show, and I explained to him the whole idea behind the found book, notes and letters that people had found and sent in to me, little scraps that gave a glimpse into the lives of strangers. Pico got excited. He told me that earlier that very same night, he'd been sifting through boxes that were being tossed out before the station's big move, just looking for mugs, t-shirts, old calculators, anything of value, and he'd found a bunch of racy notes from the morning show's old dour anchorman to a young camerawoman. We galloped out back to the dumpsters and mucked about until we found the stack of steamy pages. "You should read some of these on the show," Pico cried. I resisted for a bit, but Pico was vehement. "This guy's a Class A asshole," he said. "I'm telling you, he got a janitor fired for throwing out his lucky tie that he left on the bathroom floor. She had worked here 8 years. 3 hours later, we were on the air. And the anchorman's turning to me with a grumpy look. "So, tell me about this book. You collect trash, is that it? You like trash, trashy trash? One person's treasure is another's treasure." He might very well have been drunk at 7:15 in the morning. "Yes, sir," I said. "People are finding this stuff all over the country and sending it in to me. Some of it's hilarious, some of it's heartbreaking. It's amazing how powerfully you can get a sense of someone just from some little ripped piece of paper you pick up off the grass, like this one, for example." I held his note up high and read it out loud. "Stacy, you've got a rack on you, now that's a pair. I will nibble, lick, suck, and feast on them. Quit playing hard to get." What an expression that fellow had on his face. Back in the lobby, Pico stood with 2 janitors by a big TV, and as I walked past him out to the bright, blurry morning sun, Pico smiled, gave me a nod, and said with pleasure, "Good job, man. Good fucking job." Thank you. Thank you. My boss at This American Life, he made a CD recently with a bunch of the stories I've done for This American Life over the years, including the first story when I went to visit Mr. Rogers. And first I interviewed all my neighbors in Chicago about the conflicts they were having with each other, and then played the tapes for Mr. Rogers and let him mediate their disputes. And it was amazing because he had all the puppets from the land of make-believe. You know, King Friday, Daniel, Striped Tiger, they were all putting in their own 2 cents. He was an incredible guy. As we travel around, we get to meet the people who have found this stuff and hear the stories about where they found it. So in Providence, Rhode Island, we met this woman. She told me she found this one in her front yard. The wind had just blown it into her lawn after a storm. And it's also in a kid's handwriting. It says at the top, Adventure Club. Adventure Club. This woman, she found this in her front yard. And it says Adventure Club. How to get into the club, you need to know how to climb a fence. You need to like adventure. And then the rules. No messing up the club. Don't bring anything in without permission from Shane or Ethan. You have to be nice to squirrels. And most importantly, you can't tell anyone where or what the club is. So the woman that found this, she thought she might know who Shane and Ethan were. Just some of the neighborhood kids, she'd see them running around with their friends on the street. So she went up to them a few days later and started asking them about the Adventure Club and reciting some of these top secret rules. So the kids are shocked, like, how does she know all this classified information? She told them that her dog, named Kismet, had overheard them making up the rules. The kids were speechless. And as they're walking away, she heard the youngest one say to his friend, "Whoa, Kismet heard us." So we saw her last fall. She said, years have passed. These kids are 19, 20 years old now. She still likes to imagine them being really secretive around any dog after that. You guys, it's so much fun to share this stuff with you guys. Thanks for being here this afternoon.